All right, fingers crossed. Check, check. How we doing? How we sounding? How we feeling today? Sorry for all of the technical issues. I have no idea what was going on there. I think it just got to the point where I needed to restart my computer. But I appreciate all of you being here. Love having these conversations with y'all. And we'll get started as soon as I can confirm that things are looking pretty good. All right, this is sounding good. Let's go over to the main screen. Is this looking good? From what I'm seeing on my phone as I'm also live streaming from my computer, there is a little 15-second delay. All right, this is sounding. Sorry you hear me in the background. We had some technical issues before. And oh boy. We still have technical issues. I think I know how to figure this out pretty quick. We're going to try this. I just did this. You can see how some of the magic happens. How is that looking right now? Sweet. That's actually looking pretty good. All right. Thank you all so much for bearing with me. I'm sorry about the whole delay. Let's get into it. If any issues are coming up on your end, please comment them below, and I will adjust for the next live stream, but want to get this going. Welcome to Market Psychology 101, where we look for value in the markets when there's fear and are cautious when there's greed. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the crypto markets. Bitcoin, of course, as well as Bitcoin mining stocks, altcoins, a little bit of a refresh on the rainbow chart, the cyclical views, some of my thoughts. I had a comment in a video earlier this week to take a look at Ethereum. Of course, we are going to take a look at Ethereum as well as its pairing against Bitcoin, because I think there's a lot to talk about there. But we talked about that a lot last week. I don't want to get as heavy into it. We'll talk about alt season, fear and greed, all that stuff. Sick of those ads. Let's make sure everything's looking good. All right. So starting off with fear and greed, at least as far as the stock market goes, we are in neutrality, but remember, we were on the edge of extreme greed not that long ago. And going over to fear and greed for crypto, it was up into extreme greed a couple days ago. You can see that reflected here in the mid 80s. But overall, what I like is that we were having this definite downtrend, lower highs, lower lows, and now we have higher lows. Higher lows and higher highs as well. By the way, if you are watching, if you could just send a comment to let me know that it's working on your end, and that will make me happy, just to make sure that things are squared away. So if it's looking good, sounding good, you can type in a 5x5. I'd appreciate it. And going over looking at alt season, this is something to really keep an eye on for this year and the start of next year. If the 4-year cycle continues to be what it has in the last few cycles, and that is we are looking for Bitcoin to top out eventually. When that is, we'll see. And then for that rotation to happen into Ethereum, other large caps, cryptos in the top 10. I'm talking about XRP, which is only about half of what Bitcoin is, right? Only half about what Ethereum is, as well as Solana and BNB. So when I take a look at this chart, my mind kind of goes to the fact that I believe this is evolved and that it isn't just Ethereum. I think other large caps are slowly eating into that piece of the pie. But when Bitcoin tops out, at least as it has the last 2 cycles at the first tops, that is when we've seen the rotation from Bitcoin into the very large caps and into other altcoins, mining stocks if you are lucky. As we continue this upward trend, something important to note is we just finished seeing a 15% pullback for Bitcoin. And these pullbacks in an uptrend are normal. It's to be expected, and that's where we look for discounts. It's where we look for values, not just when there's fear, but also when we have these pullbacks as well. And then going over to the alt season chart, it has been in an uptrend for over a year and a half. But we are still waiting to see this spike. Last cycle, we saw that spike all the way up into this territory, as well as the cycle before. So I'm just setting the stage as far as the altcoins, the mining stocks, and what we are going to take a look at. And by the way, if there are any altcoins on Coinbase, Robinhood, or mining stocks you'd like for me to take a look at today, please comment below. Here we have the rainbow chart, and I'll just share what I did, at least as quick as I can, from the video I put out Monday. Even though we have this rainbow chart and you see the price is right in the middle in that yellow zone, that does not mean the price is at a median average value. What you've noticed by looking at this rainbow chart with me is that these highs are getting lower. So the next zone down to be expected would be somewhere around the orange zone. Give or take, it might be light orange, dark orange, the upper end, the lower end, who knows? But we are waiting for Bitcoin to get to one of those areas to top out. So really, it's closer to the top as far as this pattern goes, these prior cycles have gone, than it is to the bottom. So that is where I'm looking for Bitcoin to top and to get that rotation. If we go out just to March here, you can see those orange boxes are starting around 120 and 150K. And if we think more in terms of a 4-year cycle and move our cursor just out to the right, somewhere around December, we can see that the orange boxes are around 150, 190K. As I get to the charts, I'll show you why those numbers matter and how we can get there. All right, let's go over to the Bitcoin mining stocks. And as you can see, Mara, of course, still leads the way. Has about a $7 billion market cap. Riot, a little under 5. Core is 4.5. We've been taking a look at mining stocks every week as well. And some of the mining stocks, of course, I like Mara, Riot. I'm not as sold into cores, but we'll take a look at the charts. CleanSpark, Iron, Wolf, Cypher, Bitfarms. Those have been the ones we've been looking at. There's a lot of mining stocks, but those are the ones that we will run through later today. Let's get into Bitcoin. And we have some data missing. Here we go. So here we have Bitcoin. And let me just erase the fib so you can see how I get here. If we take our fib retracement tool and we go by where Bitcoin topped out in 2021, somewhere around 69K, right? Maybe a shade under, a shade lower. We'll get as close as we can. And we draw our fib from the high to the low. You can see low there, high there. All right. Bitcoin's extended above its prior all-time high. So what we do, we take our fib off log scale. And as you can see, Bitcoin is hanging right around its 1618 fib. Now, as we zoom in a little bit closer, daily buy signal, this thing's been going up. What I like seeing here is that Bitcoin's been honoring one of the higher moving averages, the 10-day moving average, as well as now treating the 1618 as support instead of resistance. That's a good thing. That's right around the 102K level, give or take. If we go over to the weekly, you can see there, buy signal broke out of that channel. And what's nice about Bitcoin right now is it has part of its Heikin-Ashi candle body peaking above the 1618. We want to see that continue. Now, last year, when we had that top in March, we saw little bits of candle bodies peaking above, just tiny bits, but until we started for sure closing above, that's when it started to rip. And you can see, to get from the former all-time high level to the next fib target and Bitcoin, you can just see it right here. It has been honoring those fibs. It only took about a month or so. Now let's take our fib off log scale and see what it's done on the way up from the bottom. But you can see Bitcoin does respect those fibs, does respect the moving averages. I mean, here perfectly to the 618 and the 786, former all-time high, moving average, fib. So that's why I combine those two indicators. I think those two together are pretty helpful. And also on this channel, I try to use indicators that you can use as well. Ways to look at the market that you understand as well. As far as Elliott wave theory, Elliott wave analysis, I like it, I appreciate it, but I can't replicate it on my own. And so part of the reason me using these indicators, as well as buy signals and the RSIs that I use, is so we can do this together. We can check each other's work, and you're not just trusting me as an expert opinion. Your opinion matters just as much. So that is why I'm using some of the most easily accessible indicators. I think, at least my philosophy is, if you have a handful of indicators you can use really well, then you'll get very good at those. You don't need to do things a dozen different ways. Same thing with cryptos I look at. If you have a handful that you pay attention to, that's a lot better than buying 10, 20 cryptos or more, because then you're spread out. It's better to pay attention to fewer and be really strong in those areas. That's my philosophy. As far as Bitcoin dominance, we're just going to turn off the moving averages here so we get a good look at it. Bitcoin dominance, we can see that in the past, when it is tanked to the lower 40% area, that is when we've had alt season. Now that hasn't happened yet, but you can see that when alt season happens, it happens very quickly. The reason why that right now, 59% of all money in crypto is in Bitcoin. The reason why I think it happens so quickly is because Bitcoin, it gets very overbought. And when it's overbought and in bubble territory, while all the altcoins are not, it makes sense to rotate, for large money to rotate from profits and where there really isn't value to get anymore into where there's extreme value in some of these other large caps and altcoins. So I think that is why that's happened in the past. Now, as far as what Bitcoin dominance is doing right now, it has, if we just draw a fib, by the way, from the high to the low, you can see that since it's low, it has come back up to the 618. So I would not be shocked or surprised to see dominance come back down from this level. I hope so. If we go to the daily and take a look at this, you can see right now the 618 is held up for almost a week. And so the 618 is being tested. And could it get through? Sure, of course it could. But if it's able to hold, then we can resume going back down for Bitcoin dominance. When that happens, we also see altcoins do pretty good as well. Going over to Tether dominance, we haven't taken a look at this one in a few weeks, so this one's important. This just shows that in the past, when Tether dominance, by the way, Tether, it retains a value of about $1. You can see it's the number 4 crypto. It's always around $1, 99 cents, $1, whatever. People put their money into Tether. They exchange their cryptos for Tether to retain their Satoshi value, to not lose it. So when the markets are getting very risky, people will convert their cryptos to Tether so they don't lose money. And so in the past, what's happened is, as the Tether dominance has come down to this trend line, and yes, I have adjusted it. I'll tell you more about that in a second. That has marked local tops. You can see the dates at the bottom. End of December 2017, that was the cycle top then. We had a mid-cycle top mid-year 2019, the top before COVID. Of course, the double top and the recent 2 tops. Now, before I had the trend line drawn to these areas, but there's been more Tether printing, and the way this works is it was always meant to break down underneath that trend line. However, when you draw the trend line from the first two dips that happen in Tether that mark those tops, it actually lines up with that pretty well. So I wonder, is it going to break under that trend line? So going over to Ethereum, we can see that Ethereum got up to, let me make sure the fib is correct, by the way. Here we go. It's got to be on log scale if we're on log. And we are not on log, so that's not working. All right, there we go. Our fib's on log, and we are going to put everything on log. What do we notice? So Ethereum never got above its former all-time high at around 4,900, but it got to the 888 area a few times, okay? Most fibs, it doesn't have the 888 on there. You can add that, as well as the 618. You can do the golden pocket at 0.65 as well. But got up to the 888, rejected 3 times. Now it has gone underneath the 786 and looks to possibly be going lower. So if it does come all the way down, let's turn on our moving averages. We can see here. Now let's turn that up. We can see here that it bounced nicely off the 50-day moving average, came back up, challenged the 786, candle body didn't close above. Right now it's holding one of the 20s. But if it comes back down and gets lower to one of these lower moving averages, we have the 100-day moving average right down here around 2,700, as well as this lower trend line. Ethereum's in this massive wedge. You can see right here, we probably even stretched this out to the former top. Kind of works, kind of doesn't. If we do those first 2 tops, I'll give it that. So Ethereum is in this massive wedge, and as far as these higher lows, that would be right between the 100 and the 200-day moving average around the 618 at 2,500. So if the markets were to turn bearish and Ethereum got around 2,500, I don't think that'd be a bad area to look for. Now, Ethereum hasn't broken out yet. And until Ethereum breaks out, Bitcoin dominance isn't going to start going lower. We need Ethereum to break above the 888 and former all-time highs in order for Bitcoin dominance to really start showing us something and for altcoins to really start ripping. Once that happens, it happens fast. So I don't know if any of you have been here in prior crypto cycles. If you have, comment below when you got into crypto. I'm actually curious as far as the viewers here. Have you been in crypto since 2017, 21? This year, last year? Please comment below. But as far as prior cycles, once Ethereum starts ripping up, that's go time. And as we took a look at Bitcoin dominance earlier, we saw what that fib is. We can take that off. Okay. Also, something to note, Bitcoin dominance did have that nice bounce off the 50-week moving average. Now, it's been honoring the 20-week moving averages, but recently broke underneath that. So far, that signaled the peak this cycle. But I want to see Bitcoin dominance get under the 50 and get down to the 100 or 200-week moving average. All right, X-Sync since 2020. All right, awesome. So you've been here since before we had this alt season back here. And I've been in here since the middle of 2017. Once you go through an alt season, crazy good times. And part of why we're here is we believe that, or we are hoping that one of these alt seasons is going to happen again. And I think it will. I think the data is showing us that. But yeah, we'll see when that happens. A lot of people focus on when that's going to happen. And I think we can go a couple different ways, but I'll get into that in a minute. Something else to look at. This is the shadow of Bitcoin dominance, and that is Ethereum Bitcoin pairing. We talked about this a lot last week. I just want to do a recap of what we talked about really quick. Yes, the first time was mind-boggling. By the way, X-Sync, if you think 2021 was mind-boggling, 2017 was even crazier, in my opinion. Being in 2017, it was never experienced anything like it. Chips and salsa, what's up, man? Yo, AVAX sucks. We'll take a look at AVAX today. How about we take a look at that one first, and we'll see where it is. All right, you guys are probably looking at this and being like, what the hell is all these charts? So let's take off one of those. Something we talked about, and I just want to keep this really quick because I don't want to spend as much time on this week as we did last week. Each live stream, I want to do something different, is that we drew a fib from the high to the low, okay? Just like we do other cryptos. We can see there's also this trend line in Ethereum, Bitcoin at the peak. Though do know alt season last time peaked out right around here, not at the top trend line, but right around here at 42%. As far as 2017 at the end, 2018, I mean, it's kind of close to the top, but it was somewhere in there. That's when it was happening at the end of December, early January. So somewhere around this 47 area. Interesting to know. April 21. All right. So yeah, maybe when Bitcoin dominance gets back up to the 786 area, might have more of a red alert for that than the trend line. Anyways, we can see that Bitcoin dominance recently, as far as that fib, broke under its 382, which is not good, but it's holding up right there. And so what we also did is we drew a fib from the low to the high, and you go from wherever low you're drawing to the next high, and you can see that it retraced all the way to the 618 or about the 618. So this does leave as long as I drew my fib perfectly, which I probably didn't, this does leave a little room, but it is possible that could be a bottom. If not, then we could see Ethereum Bitcoin going down to this 0.16 level. And let me just tell you right now, if that happens, it will not feel good in the markets. However, there will be good discounts to be had. So keep that in the back of your mind. Xsync, I abide by the saying, time in the markets beats timing the market. We need to be patient. 1,000% agree. I love that you said that. Yeah, because if you just spend time in the market with your handful of stocks or cryptos, you have a good feel for where the value is. I'll keep going back to Apple. Okay, this will just be really quick. As far as these moving averages, let's just say Apple is one of the handful of stocks to pay attention to, and you see that historically, the moving averages, at least on the weekly, it doesn't get under the 100 that often. But if you get in there, that is some of the deepest value. Sure, you could go to the monthly, and those times are even more rare. But that is why I think the moving averages are important, because even when things are bearish, quote unquote, it still means good discount territory in the long term. So yes, I agree. Time in the market and paying attention to your stuff, especially when things are going bad, that does matter. Let's take a look at AVAX for chips and salsa. Let's see how he's doing. AVAX sucks, is what he said. All right, AVAX, let's take our fib. Let's put it on log scale because we're not looking for price targets. So right now, chips and salsa, I'll say this. It is in this massive wedge, just kind of like Ethereum as well. But you can see that from the top of that wedge, it's come down to the 0.5. All right, you can see sell signal. It is getting support at the 0.5. It even wicked and got bought up around that 50-week moving average. But when we take a look at this from a dollar cost average opportunity, yeah, this still has room to possibly go lower. Stochastic RSI still coming down. I would wait for confirmation, the blue to flip above the orange, and by that time, we don't know if it's going to be around here or lower. It might catch one of these moving averages for support. But if you've bought AVAX before, up here, wherever, you might have another good opportunity to buy in, whether, around the lower end of the wedge, $28, $29, these moving averages, the low 30s, even right now, 35. AVAX, it isn't doing great, but as far as just this chart goes, it's right in the middle of its value from all-time high to all-time lows. And so if you like AVAX and you've bought it before, I don't hate buying it here, but I would wait for confirmation on the stochastic. I wonder how the daily is looking for you. The daily, we did have this lower low, but right now on the daily, look at that. It is holding up on the 200-day moving average. You want to see that 200-day hold support, but look how many times. Each time the wicks get to the 200-day, people are buying. So 34.70, that's where people are buying. Could it get lower? Sure, but so far the candle bodies are holding up on the 0.5 fib. My name is Van the Man. Welcome. I love this channel. Thanks, bud. I appreciate that. I love you too. How high do you think Bonk, Cardano, Polkadot could go this summer? That should be alt season, in my opinion. All right. How high do you think those three coins can go this summer? Well, right there, you are of the mind that this summer is when they will pump and when we will have alt season. I'll just say this to remind you that I don't know when something's going to happen. If you see in the charts and you're convinced it's this summer, God bless you. I hope it is, for myself and for all of us. But do make sure your plan and strategy works regardless. Okay. But let's go to Bonk. Let's take a look at some price targets and let's zoom out here. Let's first start on the weekly. Okay. And let's see, what is Bonk's market cap? I believe it's somewhere around the 50 range. Yep, Bonk number 52 overall crypto, $2.3 billion market cap. And so one of the questions you could ask yourself, because we'll take a look at fibs, is before we take a look at fibs, let's say Bonk blows the fib targets out of the water. What market cap do you realistically think Bonk can get to? I cannot answer that question for you, but let's say you really believe in Bonk. It's this cycle, Shiba or Doge, something like that. Where it is right now, I'll tell you this. Where it is right now, I kind of compare this where some of the mining stocks are with a similar market cap, something like Cypher. And in my opinion, if something has around a $2 billion market cap, I am looking for at best, to get into that $20 to $30 billion range. Could it go higher? Of course it can. I don't know if it's going to. But if it gets in that $20 to $30 billion range, that's a 10x. I'm taking profits. And if you get a 10x inside of a year, that's disgustingly awesome. That is not typical. Take your profits, okay? Could it go 50x, 20x? Sure, but we don't know. In the world of crypto, if you don't sell when these things do tank, you're going to wish you sold on the way up. It is very hard to time the top, so just keep that in mind. So I would be taking a look for that range at best, maybe conservatively 15 to 20. But when we take a look at the charts and we see where it is right now, by the way, Bonk looks like it's holding support pretty decently at this 786, got bought up twice with these wicks on the 50-week moving average. Let's take a look at the daily. The daily, so far, it's holding on the 200-day moving average, 786 as well. Now, it wasn't, I'll say this though, look at what's happened since it broke under the 50-day moving average. It hasn't been able to retake it. Candle body's not closing above, and it is possibly losing some steam. Having a lower low here is concerning to me. Now, dollar cost average territory, don't hate it here. Right around the 786, around the 40s, 2938, looks to be pretty decent. If we take a look at, all right, that indicator's off. Let's take a look at the stochastic again. Come on now. There we go. If we take a look at the stochastic, it is about ready to cross up. Okay. So if that crosses up, and it looks like it's going to, I really don't mind Bonk at this level. But then, all right, let's get into some price targets. So Bonk, when it broke up, it probably got near the 1618. Yep, got right up to it. On the weekly, it got up to the 1618, which is there at about 405896. We can scroll down and see, again, these fibs only go so high. That's around 13933. Okay, if we go over to Bonk and let's say this gets to a $20 billion market cap. All right, $20 billion. I'm just going to do this on my phone calculator, so you'll have to trust me, bro, on this one. But if I just do 20 divided by 2.3, I hope you see what I'm doing there. 20 billion market cap divided by 2.3. That's about 8.7x. Multiply that times this price. So times 0000, there's 4 zeros, 3029. That would be 30263. 30263. So that's way above our fib targets. Where would that be? 30263. Let's do the 8618. I won't go as in depth as on the other ones. All right, so remember 30263. So 8618. I would add the fibs between the 7618 on your training view, go up to the 8618. That would be around a 10x. And again, that would be if Bonk got to a $20 billion market cap. All right. So if it gets above that, yes, add the 9618. You can add the other fibs you see down here as well. 9.5, 9382, all that. You can get as crazy as you want here. But I would ask yourself, what market cap range do you believe in? All right. Whatever market cap range you believe in, that's how I would play that and add your fibs in between. So I hope that makes sense. I hope I explained that well. Let's go to Cardano. And Cardano is a good one to look at anyways, because as you can see, it's outran my fib and it hasn't gone there in a while. Why do I have that red line there? I don't know. Let's take that off. I know I put it there for a reason, but let's just get rid of that. All right, Cardano, from the high to the low, you can see that it came back up to the 618, came down, retested the 0.5, but it's right in between there. It is extended on the weekly pretty far from the moving averages, so it does have more room to drop if we are going to drop anytime soon. But right now, what's nice is that Cardano, look at these snipe buys at the 0.5. Got sniped up, but it's been holding the 50-day average. So may get some support here. The fact it's not breaking above the 618 for me is concerning. If it got back down to this 100-day moving average 0.5 territory, that would be, in my opinion, the start of decent discount territory. But as far as price targets for Cardano, you can consider what XRP has done recently. Okay. XRP got up to its 1618 and it was getting close to the 2618, I believe. Let's take a look at that quick. All right. Not the one I charted. Here we go. This is the one we charted. All right. XRP got up to the 1618 at about $3 and might get to the 2618. Keep in mind its market cap's bigger. So 2618, very big target for XRP, but going back over to Cardano, oh boy, let's zoom out here. Cardano, if it did something similar, that 1618 area, 486, all right? Most bullish scenario, $7.73, in my opinion. But again, you got to factor in market cap. So right now, Cardano is at about $1. Then you believe if it gets to the 1618, it can do a 5x. And if you can believe Cardano can do a 5x, then you can believe its market cap can be 5x. And Cardano's market cap is $35 billion. 35 times 2, 70. 70 times 2, 140. Okay, that's a 4x. 140 plus another 35, 175. Do you believe Cardano can have around a $175 billion market cap? Maybe. Just know that market cap would be right around where XRP is right now. So whatever targets you look for or believe in, that's up to you. I see a lot of crazy predictions out there, but in my opinion, I think that 1618 right around where that $5 mark is, in my opinion, that would be the most realistic top. And then Polkadot. Oh, and then we have Crispy. What's up, dude? How you doing? Crispy has a lot of comments. Where would you buy Chainlink? If you don't mind sharing, I will share. I'd be happy to. I'm thinking about getting in, but it's FOMO now. Dude, take a deep breath. Go for a walk. Do not chase. Also, would you look into Pyth Network? The ticker is Pyth. It's like Chainlink. Yeah, I'll do that. I want to get to, my name is Van the Man's last request. That is Polkadot. Is that one Matic? It's been a while. No, that one's Polygon. Polka. Or it's dot. My brain's not quite braining. I'm sorry. I had full disclosure, slightly stressful week at work. I'm doing fine. But yeah, that's where my brain's at right now. If I say or do something stupid, I hope y'all understand. All right, Polkadot. Whoa, talk about extreme deep value. But do know extreme deep value isn't always a good thing. It's deep value for a reason because people aren't buying it. But if it goes up, hey. So here's the concerning thing about Polkadot. What is nice here is that we had these bottoms. Yes, my fib isn't perfect. Let's get that fixed. It is nice that the bottoms are ascending. What is concerning to me is that it just got hammered at the 382. Something to keep in mind, and for any of you who are around in 2021, there were altcoins in 2017 that did really well that did not do well in 21. Some just died. Some only got to its 786, XRP, Bitcoin Cash. They only got to their macro 786. Obviously, XRP's done better this time. Happy for the XRP people. But there were also altcoins from 2017 that just died here. So more of a risk. You want to see it get over to 382 to take it seriously. Now, I would treat this one, me personally, as an educated gamble. It does have a $10 billion market cap, so it is up there as far as its ranking. Polkadot, yeah, it's the number 18 crypto. Cool little fire emoji there. But yeah, it's around 10 billion. You know, where do you see this one getting to is a question to ask yourself. But right now, I don't love what this chart's showing me. So conservatively speaking, if you were to take a stab at this one, I would personally be okay getting profits at the 786. I am concerned that it's not doing more. Could it do more? Sure. But maybe whatever you put in down here, not financial advice, get back your buy in here and see if it does better. If not, take the rest of the profits. You know, that could be one way to look at it. All right. And then we have Crispy. So my name is Van the Man. Out of those three, I kind of like the potential of Bonk the most. But Dot scares me the most. At what level would you buy Chainlink? All right, well, let's take a look at Chainlink here in a couple different ways. So let's first go out to the weekly. There's no doubt there's a buy signal there. Of course there is. Of course there's a buy signal there. And just, again, historically, where have the weekly buy signals popped up? Okay. Sometimes it's extended, but overall, when you've bought these buy signals outside of this one, it's been at pretty good range. Yes, you'd still make money here, but it does have a buy signal. It's already elevated a little bit though. When we take a look at it on the daily, you can see it is in this channel. And I believe we talked about this, how at the lower end of the channel, the 100-day moving average, decent value, but what's going to happen? Is it going to roll over and come back down and test the lower end of that channel? That would be the beginning of where I would consider dollar cost averaging, right at the lower end of that channel. I am curious to see what the other indicators are saying. So stochastic, it didn't get completely oversold, but it is flipping positive, and it might flip positive, hit the channel, and then as it rolls down, do one of these. It's possible to do that. I wouldn't chase it right now, personally. I would wait for this level at around $18 if it gets there. But I'll tell you, I remember when it was last August and the markets were just shit. And Bitcoin fell 30%. The stock market fell 10%. And right after this happened, I set another buy order for this fib, and it never hit. And that's okay. I still bought some, but I really wanted that $8.60 Chainlink. All right. Obviously, that'd be pretty good right now, like a 3x. I did get some in here, but right now you can see it's extended from the moving averages. And if it came down, look, the 50-week moving averages coming up, I'd be patient, personally. I'd be patient. And if you have some other altcoins, maybe focus on those, but keep an eye on this one. Chainlink, for as long as I've been in it and putting money into it, patience has paid off, because it was hard to be patient in this area right here last March, that top, but it did pay off. And I remember I think I bought some like here, and then of course this happened, and that felt pretty crappy. But then I bought some, it was here, bought some more there. So that's the thing. If you do want to buy some here at around the 618, you have to be okay buying at the lower end of the channel or the 0.5. So deeper value down here, deepest value, we have this ascending trend line. If it ever gets down there, it would probably, at this rate, if it did get down there, not saying it will, it might be later this spring, early summer at around $16. So just have your price targets. And you wanted to take a look at Pyth. All right. And let me just take a look at it myself. This is a new one to me, I will admit. Pyth Network. It's number 87. All right. $1.1 billion market cap. And if you don't mind sharing, Crispy, what do you like about Pyth Network? The chart? Someone on Twitter posted something that sounded really good. All right. So $1.13 billion, number 87 overall, and right now priced at around 31 cents. So Pyth, here we are. I do like that its biggest low was last August. That's good. Let's draw our fib. And what do we got here? Our fib's on log scale, right? Okay, it is. All right, so it did get above its 382, got rejected off the 0.5, came back down underneath the moving averages, and is hanging out right now around the 236. If we draw a trend line, I'm just curious about this. How's that looking? Is that anything? Sometimes we get little bits of convergence. It's curious when it matches up or doesn't match up. So right now, if this is one you like, this is really deep value, as deep a value as you could get. Could it go lower? Sure. Don't love that it's all the way down here, but yeah, I'm curious to hear what you like about it. As far as the weekly is concerned, yeah, this thing's just been selling off, and we also see the candle body closing underneath the 236, so that's not great. Let's take a look at this through a couple RSI trends. Stochastic, not done bottoming yet. There's still some space, so it could go lower. This is one where I'd be more concerned about a falling knife and wait for confirmation. Wait for a weekly buy signal. Okay, there's a couple ways you can do that. Here, if you bought the recent weekly buy signals, all right, you would be within the range of that value. So I don't hate it, but I'd wait for that so you don't catch a falling knife. As far as the ultimate RSI, how's this one looking? We probably have to go to the daily. I don't like how it's crossing under that orange moving average there. All right, but overall, one thing I do look for on RSIs is when they're having sort of a bullish, when they're moving up in a bullish way on the charts. Let's take a look at the regular RSI. Yeah, we only have the daily really to look at here. So the daily, okay, here's what I'm talking about. So when the RSI is just going down, 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 wherever you think the bottom is, I want to see the next bottom be a higher low. Okay, be a higher low, and whether the price is going higher as well, cool, that's bullish. But if the price gets lower and we have a higher low in strength, that's bullish divergence. Okay, divergence can take a while to play out, but I do like seeing that. Yeah, I'll put this in that in the same category as I would polka dot. More of an educated gamble, but if you love it, you could throw a little bit of educated gamble money at it, not blow your whole budget on it. And then, it's funny how when you don't, then those are the the piece of crap cryptos that really run hard for no reason. You're like, God damn, wish I wouldn't have listened to this market psychology guy. I would have had $10,000. But we never know. I mean, these are some of those, in my opinion, more so gambling cryptos. But if you love the research and you love all that you see about it, it is at decent value. So I'll give you that. All right. Any other comments? Oh, I needed to scroll. It offers the same as Link does. It's just a Solana version and much lower. So it seems like I just have to wait with this one and focus more on Chainlink. Yeah, I would say with both, we're waiting on confirmation. And it's okay to be patient. And I'll remind you, when it comes to confirmation, you're not always going to buy the absolute low. So right now, we talked about how I'm not going to turn the indicator on, that this has a buy signal. You're not always going to get the absolute low, okay? But if you're buying here at this weekly buy signal, now keep in mind it's the highest weekly buy signal it's had this cycle. It's the highest one. So I would caution you on that. If you're buying there, you're hoping it goes higher. And yeah, at least you're getting confirmation. I also, the way I look at things is I'm trying to get that deep value and that profit sandwich. So if I'm buying something here, I don't need to sell the very top. Let's say Chainlink goes up to, I don't know, $100 or something. If you sell it when you get a sell signal and it's at like $90, then you split the difference, 90 minus 25, 65, okay? You've made that 65 portion of the profit, if that makes sense. So maybe the top's at 100, but then you get a sell signal at 90. You're still making an overall profit, but that is a way to sort of hedge your risk. All right. Do I have a meme play for this cycle? Which cryptos am I? I have a little bit in Doge, but I haven't bought Doge in a while, to be honest. I was buying Doge when it was down in this range, and it was right as it was somewhere in here as we were getting across up. Forget which indicator I used, but got a bit of Doge right around here and almost sold all of it last time. But the reason I didn't is because, all right, so going back, I talked about how there's 2017 altcoins that only got back up to their 786 the next cycle. That happened for Doge in December last year, okay? Got up to its 786. Could have made some good money. I can still make great money, from where I got it, because it was around 7 or so, 7.5 cents, something like that. But I don't believe we're in alt season yet. And so in my mind, I told myself, and, maybe famous last words, that I don't believe we're in alt season yet. We haven't seen the rotation. This could still go higher. I could be wrong about that. But yeah, Doge is the biggest meme coin play I have. Yeah, it's still struggling with that 786. Does have a weekly buy signal, but do any of you believe in, 3 Doji weekly candles in a row? I do like how it's grinding up, but I want to see it get past that 786. If Doge gets to that 888, I'm for sure taking some profits there. Not my full bag, but at least my buy-in. So I'm being a little greedy with Doge. As far as other meme plays, a little bit in Fetch. And would you call Jasmine a meme? I wouldn't. I was very lucky to get Fetch at a very low price, somewhere around I swear I got it at like 6-7 cents. Yeah. So this is one I was lucky to buy the very bottom of. However, sadly, I had to take some profits along the way to pay for one of my pet's vet bills, an emergency. My pet's doing fine, by the way, but it's one of those things. I made great money, got a 10x, and yes, it went higher, and yes, I kept some in. But I needed some money, and I was able to take it out of the money I put into this crypto. So no regrets there, even though it went higher. Not going to dwell on that. But yeah, Fetch is one where I kind of consider it a meme play because it's AI. And, crypto, I'm sorry, this is going to piss some of you off, but It's so stupid as far as, this is the AI bubble. We had the dot-com bubble in 2000. This is the AI bubble. And they just put AI in the name. I saw this meme where, if you've seen the movie Wolf of Wall Street, the meme is Leonardo DiCaprio at the end saying, "Someone sell me this pen." And the Australian guy is, is AI technology. And so that's how this feels right now. But yeah, as far as this AI coin, it's at its former all-time high, lower end of the wedge. If you believe in this one, that would be the beginning of some dollar cost average territory. All right, XSync, I agree. I'm having the same conviction, not alt season yet. Let's get into that just for a minute, and then I'll get to some other altcoins as well as the mining stocks. I will jump into those. All right, the big elephant in the crypto room is Ethereum. The piece of crap that's not doing well. We need Ethereum to do better. People will lose their freaking minds if XRP crosses Ethereum. I don't believe that's going to happen, but it's got to that point where I'm like, yeah, is it going to? I made that one video. It's probably my top viewed video where I said XRP is not going to 10K. Pissed off a bunch of XRP cult members. It's not going to 10K, by the way. But XRP is doing well. And again, nothing against it, but it's getting into that territory where it's like, insert foot into mouth, eat a little bit of crow, and that's okay. You can't be right about everything. But Bitcoin dominance, that has been what's been needed for alt season, okay? And we've talked about how the shadow of Bitcoin dominance is Ethereum Bitcoin. But there's a couple things that we took a look at last week, and that was, when Ethereum Bitcoin bottomed, I can't have on this many fibs, by the way. Sorry. It's hurting my brain. There was a long time between when it bottomed and alt season. 600 days. If you see my videos, 600 days, and it moved about 300%. Okay. Alt season it ended around May 10th. So it got right up to here. 600 days, 300%. Ethereum Bitcoin's not that low, and it doesn't need to move that high, okay? The range here to here is not as big. So we don't need as much time, and we don't need as big of a strength of a move. Now it can happen quick. I mean, you go back to 2017. Look how low this got. This is December of 2017, and alt season was happening by here. So this happened in weeks. Ethereum Bitcoin got down to its 236 from up here, and we had alt season within weeks of that bottom. So last cycle, this played out for 600 days. Do you believe this can go up in a matter of a month or two like it did in 2017? The way I would see that happening, here's what would need to happen. Okay, because remember, this is Ethereum paired against Bitcoin. This trend line is at about 0.5, which means Ethereum would have to have half the market cap of Bitcoin. So let's say Bitcoin just stops right here and some of that money rotates into Ethereum. Bitcoin can go down a little bit. Let's just say it goes to 2 billion, but then 2 trillion, sorry. But then we're waiting for Ethereum to get to 1 trillion towards that 0.5. Because again, the 0.5 means that Ethereum needs to be worth half as much as Bitcoin. So if all of a sudden Bitcoin goes down to 2 trillion, Ethereum needs to get to around 1 to get towards that 0.5. Is $600 billion just going to rotate within a month or two into Ethereum? I have a hard time believing that. Now, conservatively speaking, which never happens in crypto, we saw that this was a 300% move that took 600 days. So I keep saying, let's say this is the bottom. You saw that other fib if you're here earlier, low to high. It's the 618 fib right here, okay? We're not going to draw it again. It only needs half the strength of the move, 150%. We also talked about earlier, even just getting back to the 786 is around when alt season happens. So not even as much. Less than half the percent of the strength of move. So why not something like 300 days? Which puts us into November of this year, which puts us into 4-year cycle territory. November, December 2017, 4 years later, or 2013, sorry. 4 years later, December 2017. 4 years later, November 2021. 4 years later, November 25, give or take. You know those orange boxes I talked about, 150, 190K Bitcoin? But something, I don't know, something feels off with this for me personally. It just seems too nice, too perfect for it to play out like that. Watch it play out exactly like that. When I started this channel, it was before the halving, and I talked about how each halving goes up a zone. It's about a month or two before the halving. And what happened? The halving fell right where we theorized it would, which was kind of crazy. Okay. But I'm not saying that to pat myself on the back. It's just, it's funny when these patterns emerge, in my opinion. So I think that falls within the realm of the 4-year cycle. But here's the contrarian view. Here's total 3. Total 3. So last cycle, or I'm sorry, 2017 to 21 cycle, you can see the fib when we drew from the high to the low. Total 3, it got up to the 2618 and the 3618, right in that range. Okay. Each cycle, and we see this reflected by the rainbow chart, we have diminished returns on the log scale. That's how log scales work. Logarithmic regression. Log, you go by factors of 10. It regresses over time. It's not as crazy volatile on the way up. Now, we do have inflation, so maybe some of that strength does stick around. But I don't expect total 3 to get to the 2618, 3618 area. Total 3 is already close to its former all-time high. So I'm looking for the 1618 to 2618. That's not far away. It doesn't seem far away. Now, maybe that takes till the end of the year to get there, because nothing goes straight up. And by the way, we can just take a look at what happened from 2017 to 21. By the time total 3 got to the 786, we'll zoom in here. By the time it got to that 786 area, and by the way, both fibs are off log, so, this is off log 786. How much longer to the top? 91 days, and then the ultimate top, 273. So 91 and 273, that fits in with what a lot of people are saying. That's last November, but we'll push it out a little bit. 91. Okay, that's March. Interesting. 273. Where is 273? That's September. Here's what's interesting about September. This is starting to look like a crime scene map, by the way. So March this year is the average from the bottom to the next peak. When we take every cycle and we average the amount of time from bottom to the peak, the very bottom to the peak, bottom to the peak, so on, so forth. When you take every prior cycle, average out that time, that puts the next peak from bottom to peak in March. However, if you go by halving and you take the average from every halving to the next peak, that puts it out in August, later August, September. We just saw in total 3, you map out the length of the move. That's, if we just extract that data, push it forward, it'd be September. Now, I will say that doesn't happen in a perfect world. In stocks, crypto, it usually doesn't happen. But I'm just looking at this as far as a range is concerned. As far as a range. Here's another chart, though. Total 3. Okay, that's all the cryptos without Bitcoin and Ethereum. Total 3 divided by Ethereum. To me, this one's one of the most concerning. We have this definite trend line going on here, but it is breaking up, which is nice. Okay, we can take off the moving averages. We don't need them. Not for this one. So we do have these moving averages, and you can see, look at the dates at the bottom. December 2018, not a good time to be in crypto. Okay, December 2018, where was that? That was right as it just fell off a cliff. That was the bottom. Where were the tops? I know where the tops were. All right, this was the top. Okay, right here, total 3 divided by Ethereum. This was the bottom. Okay, How about the middle of 2019? June, July 2019. That was down here, so nothing really significant. March 2020, I'm curious where that one was. Okay. Right around there, so nothing significant. Where was this one? June of 22. Where was June of 22? June of 22, right after Bitcoin fell off a cliff. Where was April and November of 21? Okay, so this one, a peak. November 21. November. Nothing significant on this chart. Is that a low here? So a way I guess you could take a look at this is say, it's broken out before. I don't know. But this chart, at least right now, it's hitting a trend line. Are we close to a local high? That's what this chart would be telling us. But I kind of view this maybe, I probably have some bias here, but kind of like the tether dominance one, I do think this can break through this trend line and go up further. But I am a little bit concerned about this. Not going to lie. All right, let's get into some mining stocks. And again, if you have any requests for cryptos for me to take a look at, comment below. But let's get into the mining stocks. And let's go to the weekly. Okay. A lot of these cryptos we've talked about today, we've shown that they're in these massive wedges. A lot of them. When you go from the all-time highs or the recent all-time highs and the recent lows. Massive wedge. As far as Mara, we can put on our moving averages and buy signals again. Mara just had a buy signal. Great. Just had a weekly buy signal. We talked about how down here the last couple of weeks, some decent value. On the daily, I bought some, I think here, and then it went up. I was feeling pretty good about myself, and then I went down again. And I didn't cry, but I was like, God damn it. And then it went up again. Still needs to get above the 50-day moving average. But overall, that's looking good for Mara. And remember, Mara is the number one Bitcoin mining stock. I like Mara a lot, but I'm not looking for a 10x, okay? I don't believe this is going to get to 70 billion from here. I would be looking 30 to 50 billion. I know that's a big range, probably, around 40. So somewhere around a 6x from where it is here. But I didn't just buy from this level. I've bought at lower levels before. So Mara, what's interesting to me is that the tops, the last two cycle tops, do line up around where the 1618 is. Now, is that trend line really? It is. That trend line is not perfect. We can move this up a bit. I didn't quite capture the true top there. Can angle up a little bit. Great. But we have our fib off log, and you can see that 1618 is at 132. Okay, that's where those tops line up. So if Mara got above 132, what would that be? That would be about remember how I said a 6x would be around 40 billion? That's 120. A 7x is 140. The trend line is at about 160, and here we are at around 130. So 7x, that would be like saying Mara could get to close to 50 billion. So yeah, 40 to 50 billion would be, in my opinion, a very top range to look for. But it does have a buy signal on the weekly. If we zoom in, we see that right here. I'll share with you. I have a couple buy signals. This is more of a leading indicator one, and I do love using my Heikin-Ashi candles. If we take a look at the stochastic, okay, this is also just about the cross. Now, of course, it can always cross down lower again, but I do like this. I like this a lot for Mara. All right, let's take a look at the next one, which is Riot. Riot Platforms. 11 people in the chat. Hope you all are doing well. So buy Mara now. It is not FOMO. Crispy, say whatever you want to convince yourself, but I feel like I know you well enough. It feels a little bit like FOMO, but that's okay. Just temper expectations, man. And, the point of dollar cost averaging, I got to add this because I don't want to steer any of you guys wrong. The point of dollar cost averaging is we don't know where the exact bottom is, but we buy within the ranges of that and at the good values. When I buy it, I'm looking for the moving averages and the fibs, or I'm buying when I see confirmation, buy signals, stochastic, all those things, right? Riot, this is do or die time. Not to sound dramatic, that was a bit dramatic, because it's getting near the top of this channel. It would be wonderful to see this break out and get to the 0.5. Now, Riot, man, I was feeling pretty good up here as well because it got some below there. If it came down to the lower end of the channel, nice. I would buy more. I like Riot enough, but it is concerning. I do want to see it hold the 382 a little bit better instead of continuing to make lower highs. Now, it is above the moving averages, and what's nice is we might see the 50 do a cross above the 100. Once the 50 does a cross above the 200, that'll be really nice. So maybe we see the 50 cross above the 100 week when Riot breaks out of the channel, and then we see the golden cross when it gets up even higher. But Riot, this is one, again, those dates at the bottom and the peaks, they line up with alt season in the past. Though Riot, it peaked a little bit before alt season, so do have price targets. If we draw from the low to the high for Riot here and take our fib off log, you can see that Riot pretty much perfectly got to its 1618, right? 1618, that was the top. So that being said, where's the 1618 for Riot this time around? If that continues, there's no guarantees. The 1618 is at about 126. That'd be a 10x. Okay, but again, this is risky. The 2618 would be at that trend line. So if you believe in the trend line, you believe Riot's going to have a stronger move than it did last time. I have a hard time actually believing that myself. I think I want that to happen. I have some Riot, but we saw it only got up to the 1618 last time. So you're telling me this cycle is going to do better? What I might do, this is just my plan, is if Riot gets up to the 1618 at all, take out a very good chunk of profits and leave some in, see if it goes higher. Cool. If not, withdraw the rest. Use the former all-time high as my stop loss. Would it suck not selling at all when it's $50 higher? Yes. But it would suck missing out on if it went to 200 as well. So again, as I get lower into these, I kind of treat it more and more like educating gambles. But I would love to see Riot get up there. I can hear myself talking. I'm trying to talk myself into it. It'd probably be the smartest to withdraw everything in here, but there's no guarantees. Okay. So right now we're being value-minded investors, but when we get near the top, when things get bullish, we have to be thinking as traders, looking for profit taking and stop losses. Let's say Riot doesn't do well because there's no guarantee in any of these doing great like they did in the past. 786 around $40 would be the first area to start looking for profit taking. Okay. Above there, everything else is a nice bonus in life. Let's get to Core Scientific. We haven't taken a look at that one in a while. I'll take a look at one of these mining stocks balance sheet. We've taken a look at Iron, Mara, Riot, Cores, Cypher as well. Have we taken a look at CleanSpark? I believe so. Maybe we'll take a look at TeraWulf today. Let's take a look at TeraWulf balance sheet. But low to the high because we don't have a lot of competitive advantage to work with. We've seen this twice now. Corza likes that 20-week moving average. Now, what is concerning to me is this has been in the top few crypto mining stocks, Bitcoin mining stocks, but the balance sheet for me looks the worst out of the top ones. Riot, Mara, I believe Iron, Cypher, CleanSpark all had positive balance sheets, assets to liability ratios. Cores does not. And so Cores is one I'm worried about. Now, someone commented in a video I did of Mine Sucks a while ago, like, so what that the balance sheet sucks? It's done better than the other ones. And to an extent, yeah, that's true. If you bought it down here, world of crypto, how much does a balance sheet matter? I'll tell you what, when the market rolls over, and I don't know when that's going to be, but when it does, stocks with a bad balance sheet suffer the worst. And so this is one for the next cycle. I will be looking for this one to fall hard, and that's where I'll be buying it for cores. So I'm not touching it this cycle, but who knows? Maybe this one can be a miner that goes up in the $30 to $40 billion range. Who knows? We'll see. Let's take a look at, we looked at BitDeer this week in our video. I'll skip that one. Let's go to CleanSpark. Let me check the comments. No new comments. All right, cool. Y'all just listening to me in the background. CleanSpark, massive wedge, and close to the lower end of the wedge. It probably has a buy signal. So I know there's some CleanSpark fans in the chats. I've seen your comments before. Okay, we do have a buy signal, a weekly buy signal. If you didn't get it up here, you're getting a deeper value. It is at that trend line. You do want to see it get above. Look at this candle body right up to the 200. Week moving average, the wick to the 100. Okay, but we do have a buy signal, which is nice. It is at the lower wedge trend line, which is nice. And the stochastic is flipping positive, which is nice. Touched oversold, and it's flipping positive. So dollar cost average territory, don't hate it. Don't hate it at all. If you like your CleanSpark. Let's go to Iron, then Wolf. And then after I do a couple more miners, we'll get back to some altcoins. Iron. All right, let's turn on our buy signals. That is a buy signal, though that is a doji. Doji does mean undecided. Iron, you got to love how it just, it just keeps going up on this trend line. It's crazy. All right. But twice it's been rejected by the 786. So all this is coming to a head right now. Is it finally going to break above the trend line, or is it finally going to break the 786? Your bet is as good as mine, but if it does break up, then, where are we looking? One of these higher fib levels. I think Iron, I liked its balance sheet. That one could take off. 2.85 billion, as I talked about, what was that, Shiba or Bonk before? I'm looking at the $20 to $30 billion range at best for this. So 30 billion would be about a 10x. Iron's been a nice dollar cost averager on the way up. That trend line and buy signals, it hasn't steered you wrong too much. Okay, and we're just getting a recent buy signal. All right, let's go to Wolf. And let's take a look at Market Watch. And we'll take a look at TeraWolf's balance sheet. All right, my computer just wanted to jump over to some other things for no reason. All right, TeraWolf, Market Watch. I love Market Watch. Again, there's way more to it than this. I don't want to get too in the weeds on this channel. Total current assets trending upwards overall, which is nice. So we had this giant blip back here a couple of years ago in 21. And that would be around the top, so that makes sense. So something to concern yourself with is when the total assets are ripping up, probably getting closer to the top. Look at these other total current assets. 9 million, 8 million, 69, 14, 63. Okay, so a little concern there, but 63 million total assets, 378, nice upward trend, 378 and 63. Total liabilities, 155 and 155. Total current and total liabilities, 155. So the total assets does double it, but the total current is underneath it. So a little bit more of a risk there as far as just the total current. Total current assets is about 2.5 times lower. You don't love to see that. But the total assets is twice as high. So kind of a wash there in my opinion. As far as TeraWolf though, it does have a buy signal. It is holding the 200-week moving average. Yay. Probably has a stochastic RSI cross. But yeah, didn't get through the 618, came back down, had some good support. So if it does get through the 618, 786 next, $17. But TeraWolf, remember buying it with some of you down here. I did get some TeraWolf in the $1 range in this wedge, and it's just broken out and never looked back. We can take these off right now. As far as trend lines go, though, almost looks like we have one. Kind of like iron. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, if we skip that absolute bottom, but then go by here, how does this look? Yeah, so we have a buy signal, we have the 200-week moving average, and we have this trend line. I mean, that's a lot to like right there. Of course, things can always break underneath these, and eventually it will. But those are three strong things saying buy in there. So, yeah, hopefully that continues. But the 618 was strong resistance. And the balance sheet, as we looked at it, could be a little bit better. What percentage of your capital is invested in crypto and stocks? Off the top of my head, it's mostly stocks, but this last couple of years, since 2022, I have been going more into risky stuff. I'd say 70-30 stocks to crypto. I would have to take a look at that. Honestly, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm just thinking of where I have my money right now and kind of doing the math in my head. I want to say about 70-30. Now, after this cycle, I'd like to be more like 80-20, 90-10, because I just like stocks that much more. But where we are in this cycle and here we are. Where we are this cycle, as far as stocks are concerned, PE ratios, it's hard to argue that we're not getting close in the bubble territory. So I'm trying to be safe with my stock picks. And yeah, with crypto, I am looking to take profits in a very disciplined way and not just leave money out there. All right. So that's kind of my philosophy there. One more to take a look at, and then I'll get to other altcoins. Cypher. Let's take a look at Cypher. Love this crypto. The majority of your money is making money, quote unquote. Yeah, actually. So overall, I took a look at my Robinhood today. As far as my Robinhood stocks, this last year, they're up around 74%, but I've hit on some really good ones. I bought the bottom in late 22, was it? With NVIDIA, Palantir, Meta. Loving the Palantir. Did a little copy trade buy that Michael Burry did in something called Geo Group. Prison stock because its economy struggle, prison stocks do well. I'm liking that one right now. Yeah, my stock's overall doing well. But I will say there were some tech plays that I did pre-21 and post-21, when we got in that money printing bubble that haven't done so good. But overall, yeah, I'm doing well with my stocks in crypto. And the ones that I'll share this real quick before I give my TA on this. The stocks and cryptos that I haven't done well at have been more impulse buys when I'm not being disciplined with the TA. I read the research. I like the company. I look at the balance sheets, blah, blah, blah. Things looking good overall. I weigh the pros and cons and I like the stuff that I'm buying. But then with the TA, I get a little bit of FOMO. Those have been the stocks and cryptos that are in the red right now or are around break even. So overall, yeah, doing very well, making money. But when I've bought stocks and cryptos that haven't, it's because I've had that FOMO and not been disciplined. And that's part of the reason me doing this channel is also, it's not just to help you guys, it's helped me check myself too, because I'm human like the rest of you guys. I get those emotional swings too. But when I say things out loud, I have more conviction and I do better. So just having this channel has helped me do better with my investments over the last year and a half, however long I've had this. All right. Anyway, Cypher getting to, it does have a buy signal, right? We're seeing this across the board with a lot of these good mining stocks, but it has to get through that 786. 618 has been support. I love how it just grinds up, and it has been liking that 50-week moving average at its deeper values. Recently got a bounce off that, and if it gets above the 76, that'd be great. The way I look at Cypher, by the way, is the way I look at cores. When I talked about cores earlier, bad balance sheet. Look how much Cypher rolled over. Now, I like Cypher and its potential more this time around, but these things can tank. I wish that stuff would get out of the way. 90+%. So for cores next cycle, I'm looking for somewhere around that 90-ish% drop. And I like cores. I like the research of it. I just don't like the chart in the balance sheet this time around. Cypher, I'm feeling better about this one. So I have a similar mindset with this one as I do the others. And as I talked about with Bonk, if this gets into the $20 to $30 billion range, taking all the profits. 15 to 20, taking a certain percent of profits. Should we get alt season? God, I hope so. All right, let's get to some altcoins. I wanted to spend a little bit more time on some altcoins today. Let's go to Solana. Let's get back into just the cryptos. Solana. All right, cool. It's the one I charted. Recent macro high to low, you can see Solana, it is challenging that all-time high. Now, something I like about Solana that it did recently, it was in this channel. Okay, it was in a channel and it broke out of it. And it's good to have on the channels again so we can see how it retests it. But Solana is challenging its all-time highs. When we looked at the Solana, the Sol Bitcoin pairing, Solana-BTC, you can do this with any of your altcoins. When we looked at it not long ago, I remember talking about this in a video with you guys, that it was getting support off the 100-week moving average. So I was like, all right, that might be good for Solana. Where did the Binance one go? We'll go to that one, I guess. All right. Maybe it was a Coinbase one. Do you have a couple different Solana charts? Sure seems that way. Anyways, it is at its all-time high territory right now. Okay. Look at that giant candle. In 1 week, as low as 170, as high as 295. That's crazy. Inside of 1 week, Solana ranging 42%. Gotta love crypto. But had a couple nice bounces off the channel. Look at that wick buy off the channel, the 200-day moving average. Man, it wants to break through that 1618. It wants to do it. And if it does, our fib's already off log. Here are some of these targets. Solana's at 250 right now. If it got to the upper area of these fibs, do you believe Solana can do a 4x? Something you got to ask yourself. Can it get to that 4236 and get towards $500 billion in market cap? That's what we'd be looking at for Solana. Now, that's more than Ethereum is right now. So I don't know if I quite believe that. But 2618, the 2618 at around 670, something like a 2.5x from here. I'd be taking most realistic conservative look in here. But if it gets above, I'd say that's like definite profit-taking territory. All right, let's go to the next one. What else we got? Talked about Cardano, talked about Doge, Tron. I hate Justin Sun. Not taking a look at that one. My opinion on Tron, and this thing could run, it could do great, but this is just my 2 cents. The guy is the Chinese version of Sam Bankman-Fried. And Tron is, to me, what FTX was. I'm staying away from it. Do your own research. I made a lot of money off Tron in 2017, 2018. But as I got deeper into it, the guy is a very, Justin's son, very shady character. There's a lot out there on Reddit. I know, great site, sarcastically speaking. But do your own research. Be careful of that one. Talked about Link, talked about AVAX. How Stellar Lumens, and I like SUI. Let's definitely take a look at that. But how is Stellar Lumens doing? Which chart do we want to take a look at? Cool, we've charted this one. So Stellar Lumens, this is one of the altcoins that did have a giant run earlier. Let's turn this down a little bit. There we go. So got to the 888, came down, had a little bounce off the 618, and now it's challenging the 786. Liking this 10-week moving average. Let's zoom in on the daily. Okay, look at that buy off the 618, by the way. That's a strong buy. Never got back there again. Almost did. Daily buy signal. Got scooped up right away. But again, that 76, it's trouble. If it does get under the 50, though, and back down to the 100-day moving average around 34, it'd be an area to look at. But this one, it's holding up its value. It's pretty extended. If it did come back down, I'd be willing to be patient on this one. If it got down under 31 cents to this 23 cent area in here, I might consider it. But right now it's too extended for me personally. Let's take a look at SWE. All right, SWE. All right, what did we do here? We took a look from the high to the low. So yeah, you see here at this high to the low, our fibs off log. SWE got up to the 2618. This one's doing very well, very extended. Now, last time it had a big pump, pulled back for a couple of weeks, and then it started pumping again. And it does have a sell signal. Now, last time it had a sell signal, it turned around and said, never mind. And so, as I talk on these videos, buy signals, sell signals, nothing's 100% with indicators. But this one's pretty extended. And if it gets further up, the 3618 area is 663, $12 billion market cap. So depends how much you like SWE, but it's pretty extended. In my opinion, you'd be chasing right now if you got into that one. Let's look at Hedera H-bar. Hedera, not the tequila. Hedera hash graph. All right, this one, man, we talked about this one a while ago. I remember drawing this trend line. Broke underneath. Imagine being right back here. Being like, hey, we have this nice trend line from these bottoms. And then just breaks under. Probably feeling kind of defeated. And then all of a sudden, a few weeks later, a month later, it just goes from 5 cents to 37 cents. That's how stupid crypto is, man. But you got to love it. You got to hate it and love it at the same time. So right now it's at the 786. Let's add in the 888. Any H-bar people in here? I remember last cycle, that was like highly talked about, highly talked about. That H-bar was going to be huge. And so if it does get through and get to these higher targets, the 1618 is at 90 cents, 2618, $1.50, that's a 5x. Okay, so on and so forth. If we take our fib, put it back on log, the 888, the next area, 42 cents. All right. Mataski Akabengi, welcome. Sorry I said your name horribly long. Trump coin. Hell yeah, let's take a look at Donald Trump coin. It was like the number 10 crypto, and it's been falling. Okay, right now, $6 billion market cap. It's kind of hanging around that $30 mark. Okay. Trump coin. Gotta love the crypto space. Jesus. Me personally, I'm avoiding it. I'm not buying this. It is brand new. Okay. And they've just been talking about the new administration, how cryptos are collectibles. That's how they want to describe them. But Trump coin has been around for, let's see, where did this start? January 24th, 25th. Okay. And here No, it was before that. What is going on here? Oh, January 19th. I'm reading the wrong one. Yeah, January 19th to the 25th. All right, been out a week. But this thing's just been falling. This next area, right down here, $30. Now, I definitely drew a fib on a Trump coin. No, that's the one I had. I definitely drew a fib on one. Here we go. Yeah, on MEXC it came out even earlier. Kind of funny. MEXC has an earlier chart with all the wall building stuff. I'm not going to get too much into that. But when you draw from the low to the high, the absolute low to the high, where's it been hanging out at? It's been hanging out at its 236. It's hit it twice. So I do think this chart has some value. Now this 236 has to hold. If this 236 doesn't hold, okay, again, we're seeing from the low to the high, came down to the 236. If that doesn't hold, man, can this thing fall. It can fall. Now there's some stuff going on right here in between the 618 and the 0.5. I am not touching Trump coin with the 10-foot pole, but if it gets down in between this area, $7 to $11, then I might consider it, depending on what the price action does. But I do think this is a gamble. Now, if you think the 236, that's going to hold support and you're convinced of that, good on you. But there's a lot of indicators that don't even work because how small the time frames are. So this one is very much a gamble. And I find it hilarious that it's on Robinhood. Crazy times we are living in, people. Crazy times. Trump coin is on Robinhood. I don't get it. Shiba. But I will say this, I'm laughing at it. I remember 2017. I'll tell you what I laughed at in 2017. I remember being at the gym talking to another guy who also was in the crypto at the time. And we were sharing our portfolios and what we had. And we were laughing at how there was a Dogecoin crypto. We were laughing about it. Like, who would buy that crap? Well, anyone here that knows what happened, it did pretty well. And then XRP sucked. And this cycle, a lot of people have been saying, who would buy that crap? These XRP cult people think it's going to 10,000, which it's not. XRP did well. So in the stupid world of crypto, sometimes this crap actually does pretty well. And it's a cool, nerdy, ironic space. What can I say? Anyways, we're going to take a look at Shiba. All right. Not one that I've charted before. Oh, we're way zoomed in, though. Let's get to one I've actually charted. There we go. Tether. Sweet. So from the high to the low, we can see that, I was looking for a wedge formation here, but it broke underneath it. And it was on a big angle. I would not doubt if the price got lower, but we'll just put it right there where it's at. Shiba has been holding the 50-week moving average. So, there's that. But if we take a look at, first we have to take our buy-sell signal off. Still playing out a weekly sell signal, still sticking around there. But if we take a look at the stochastic, it hasn't crossed yet. We don't have confirmation. I'd wait for confirmation. Matoski, that means it will be nice to short in the short and good out of Trump coin then. If you want to go that way, I'm not taking that risk, but here's what I'll say with longing and shorting, which I don't recommend. Don't recommend leverage whatsoever. I've known a handful of people who really like leverage. Pretty much every single one of them has lost big money. And, it's, man, I ain't never going to do it. But whatever your shorting strategy is, make sure it's replicable and that it's a very statistically positive, replicable strategy. So, I don't know what your strategy is as far as, where you're looking for areas to short, based off volume, fibs, moving averages, all that stuff. But whatever your strategy is, make sure it's a replicable one, that you've done it before, not just that you're going to do it to do it. But if going back to Trump, if it did start falling through that 236, then yeah, it could go down big, in my opinion. So we're still waiting for Shiba to flip positive. Going back to Shiba. Polkadot, we took a look at that one. Litecoin, let's take a look at Litecoin. We have not taken a look at this one in a while. And by the way, if you were here earlier for some of my other live streams today, I don't know what the heck was going on with the choppy connection. I restarted my computer and it was fine. And there were some kinks that came up doing that. So anyways, Litecoin. So man, I remember talking about this with y'all when it was at this trend line and saying, this trend line has been deep value in the past. I remember talking about this around $50 to $60 with you, and it's done a nice 2x. Now, we have this other trend line from former peaks. It's good to keep those on because, look, Litecoin not able to get through the 0.5. Look at that candle body just resting perfectly on that trend line. That's crazy. So hopefully that trend line holds because it's nice that it got above, but it didn't get above the 0.5. So that is concerning. It might challenge the 0.5 again, and you see those are lower highs. If it isn't able to take that, then I would be betting on that trend line being lost, and the 382 ain't that far underneath. But we do have all these moving averages on the weekly. But man, I remember talking about this one back here. Not that I would buy because, Litecoin, I see it as a safer buy just because it's been in this nice, easy range, but not one with large potential. And that's why I'm not getting into it. Matoski, thanks for the advice. I will stay away. You do you, man. All right. It's your money, your life. If you feel strong about it, it doesn't matter what I say. If you feel good about it and it suits your plan nicely, just make sure whatever plan you're doing, that you have your ducks in a row, that things are lined up. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not telling you what to do or what not to do, but just, make sure whatever your plan is, that things line up. The good traders, I know, they have certain things they look for, and if some of those variables aren't there, they don't do it. And so that's where the discipline and patience comes in. Let's take a look at Bitcoin Cash. We haven't taken a look at that one in a while. B Cash, Bitcoin Cash. We'll take a look at Near, maybe a couple others, Jasmine, and then we'll end it for today. Bitcoin Cash. All right. So by the way, as I talked about XRP last cycle, Bitcoin Cash last cycle, there were good altcoins in 2017 that only got to about its 786, high to low, the last cycle. This one, not even. Where's the 786 for Bitcoin Cash? Right up here. Well, it almost got up to it, but not even. Are we seeing that repeat again? That may have been the top for Bitcoin Cash. Possibly. So overall, I'm not loving this right now. Now, is it getting ready to break up and through? Sure. But you can see from the 2018 bottom and that recent bottom, if you didn't get here in the low 100s, man, flip a coin as far as where you think it's going to go. If it breaks up and above and, pulls an XRP, great. But what is your reason for liking and buying Bitcoin Cash? Let's go to Near Protocol. Cool. It's 1A charting. All right. High to low. How's Near been doing? Well, came down to, now this is one we should add on our golden pocket. So we're going to add on 0.65. We're adding on our golden pocket, and let's turn down the background a little bit. There we go. That's better. So got up to the golden pocket a little bit above, came down near. It is at some good support here. Snipe bought off the 0.5, and it's liking these moving averages, but it is going lower. Okay, this 0.5 to these moving averages, this $5 to $4.47 range seems to be not bad. Let's take a look at it under the stochastic, and what do we got? Yeah, it's still falling downwards. This would be one I'd wait for confirmation. Though if near did get to that 0.5 again, if you put in a buy order at around $4.50, give or take, I would not blame you. That'd be one thing to look for. The other thing, buy signal, stochastic crossing. Those would be other factors to look for. And just going by those bottoms that were right around here, where do those line up? It's just fun to see how these play out down the road. But those, if we get that as exact as possible, yeah, it's possible you could get a wick down to the 410 area, at worst. Just be something to look at. Let's take a look at Jasmy, and I think we'll close it there. Avalanche, Ian. Yes, I'll go to Avalanche. Talked about that one before, but we'll go back. All good. As far as Jasmy, man, this one, it likes to get above its fibs, treatment support, get above its fibs. Lost support, came back down to 382. Get above that fib, and it was treating the 0.5 as support, probably coming down to the 382 again. I do like how it's staying above the 382. But Jasmy, that's pretty concerning. If we take a look at this one, yeah, it's right at the 200-day moving average. Now, we do have this green candle. It's trying to hold on, but, man, this one looks like it may still have some further room down to go. I thought I clicked it. My bad. Jasmy, yeah. It's stochastic RSI. I'd wait for confirmation at this one. But if it gets down, maybe. Look what happened the last couple of times at the 382. So, had a nice pump up, came back down. Nice pump up, maybe it's going to come back down. And then another nice pump up, the next fib level, the 786 at around 12 cents. So it's like a 5-6x from here. Avalanche, AVAX. We'll talk about that one again. So AVAX, we talked about how it's in this massive wedge. And right now it's holding support at the 0.5. I think we also talked about it stochastic too, though. And how, yeah, similar to Jasmy. It still has some possible room to run down. We still have this trend line support and moving averages down here. So if you're waiting for a buy signal for this to get a positive cross, blue above orange, I'd be waiting for confirmation there. But if you like this 0.5, right around 35, you could dollar cost average some right now. But if you're waiting for that positive change, the buy signals, the stochastic, we do have a little bit of room down here, all the way down to around $28. So, some moving averages may hold support. What happened to Thorchain, Rune? Man, that has been one I've not looked at for a hot minute. I remember Rune doing pretty decently a time or two ago. Number 115 overall, market cap 710 million. Let's take a look at Rune here. What's going on with Rune? Okay, Rune. If I charted this one before, it's one of those, maybe I've charted it. All right. Does this not look like a massive channel to you? Looks like it's done this before. So from the 2021 top, you see here how it had this channel and then broke down. But then just look how, this is interesting to me. When I look at this one, I don't know how we look at this and just don't see how it's like sloping down and to the right. Now from this high, it came down. That's about where let's take this down a little bit. There we go. Give or take. It's not perfect. But it was in this channel, and when it came up, it came back down into it. But yeah, sometimes it's interesting though, when you see things through the lens of parallel channels. If we apply that to where it is today, if we apply that channel of where it is today, you're going to have to shrink this sucker down. Oh my God. What is this, amateur hour? I really should just delete it at this point, but I've gone too far. All right. Here we go. Almost there. He did it, ladies and gentlemen. Sweet. For the love of God. So for this channel that it is in, it is at the lower end of that channel. Okay. Now it did have a nice little bounce up, but what is it going to do that again? That's interesting to me. Now let's take a look at this through the fib lens, through the high to the low. Yeah, it's one of those, you can't help but see those channels in there. From the high to the low, recently it lost the 382, wicked underneath the lower end of that channel, but the candle body is staying on that 382. You want to see that stick. If not, you're probably coming down to the 236. As far as the daily, what's going on with Rune? Ugh, man, that does not look good. That does not look good. Since December, since that peak in December, it has gone down to the tune of 74%. Man, that sucks. However, let's say you bought Rune in here. I'm going to ask you a question. You don't have to type your answer, but just in your head, if you bought Rune at a higher price, why did you buy Rune? What did you like about Rune? Because if that hasn't changed and only the price has gone lower, now you have a discount. Okay? You have overall from that high, a 62% discount, something like that. Something crazy. If we go from the overall high to where it is now, probably way off. Yeah, 88%. Way off. Because it's at $2. Yeah, that makes sense. So, why did you buy Rune before? Why did you like Rune before? And why are you not buying as it's at more of a discount? So just something to think about. But overall, yeah, man, that channel's concerning. What's it doing on the RSI? Let's go to the weekly. So the weekly RSI still going lower. Yeah, I'd wait for some bullishness or bullish divergence. We don't see that yet. It's just falling. Wait for some confirmation. Here, stochastic does want to flip up, but we can see in the past when it's flipped up, it's just stayed lower. So, yeah, this would be one I'd wait for more confirmation on. But if you're just going by the channel, there is some deep value there. All right. Any other comments? Magic Mather, what's up, dude? Doge plus Doge ETF thoughts. Here's what I'll say about ETFs overall. As these have entered into the stock market world, something to keep in mind. Us crypto people in prior cycles, we were wanting 5x, 10x, 20x. Wall Street doesn't need 5x. They are good for taking profits wherever they can get it, whether buying at good values or shorting something that's overvalued. They are good with the 50%, a 30% with the money that they are using. So that does concern me overall as far as cryptos and the crypto ETFs. But I would just take a look at those ETFs and ask yourself, what is the trend that is going to emerge from this? Is it going to be positive, negative? Too early to tell, at least with the with the altcoins yet. Not Bitcoin, but with the altcoins. As far as Doge thoughts, took a look at this one earlier. It's still around its 786. And I was talking earlier, as in months ago, how cryptos that did well in 2017, some of them only got to the 786 in 2021. XRP, Bcash, many others. Doge was one of those at the top of my list to keep an eye on, that I wasn't sure if it would get above its 786. So far it hasn't. However, I don't believe we've hit alt season yet. That's what I believe. We haven't been there yet. Now, this is, in my opinion, the start of where one could consider profit taking if they were buying Doge at around 78 cents. I mean, making a 5x inside of, what would this time frame be? Even at latest. Making a 5x inside of a year? That's crazy. That's not normal. Okay, so do not worry about what others are doing. If they're getting a 100x, a 50x, a 5x inside of a year is amazing. Now, I believe, in my opinion, alt season hasn't happened yet. So I'd take a look at the 888 as a target, 55. Doge is still pretty extended from its moving averages. So it is expensive as far as right now. So I would not be buying now. I'd be waiting and watching for these price targets. $1.68 at the 1618 would be the area where me personally, I'd be looking at withdrawing everything. And part of that reason why, okay, we have Doge at 35 cents. What's a 2X? A 2X is 70-cent Doge. What is a 4X? That'd be a $1.40 Doge between the 1618 and 3618. A 3X would be at around a $1.05, okay, which is almost to the 1618. Now, what is a 3X as far as market cap? $150 billion. So that 1618 is somewhere around $170, $160 billion. Do you believe Doge can be worth that much for a moment in time? Maybe. But if Doge got to around that $100 billion mark or higher, I'm looking at taking profits there, me personally. But it's the world of crypto, so, it can do stupid things. When is the top? I'm really concerned about alt season. What if it doesn't come this cycle? Well, VG, I don't know when the top is. I'll show you some possible scenarios based off patterns, chart confidence. But you have to put your money where your mouth is, and everything is a risk. There are no guarantees. Some of us are hoping, many of us are hoping for alt season. I'll say this more than anything though. Whatever you're buying, have price targets, because some altcoins run before alt season is in full swing. Some altcoins, there were altcoins, this was alt season last cycle. There were many alts that ran here. They topped in later 21. Most of them were here. There were many though that topped here. There were some, miners and alts that topped out before that. So number one, have your price target. Where are you buying now? Where do you want to sell? If you're just waiting for alt season and whatever it's going to be is going to be, I would caution you on that. Now we have the phenomena of the 4-year cycle from Q4, November, December, every 4 years being the top. However, last cycle, because money printing, we had an early top, a double top in alt season at that first top. Going over to Bitcoin, I'm going to give you a variety of answers, and I would encourage you to think of it as a range. All because we have these cycles, there's a variety of factors out there, but I'll just present to you different data and you do with it what you will. You take the average amount of time from every cycle bottom to the next peak, that average is 850 days, and that would put us out in March of this year. If you take the average from every halving, that's the white line here, to the ultimate peak, that average amount of times, 484 days. That puts us out in August, September. If we go over to Bitcoin dominance, and we're waiting for this to tank, after Bitcoin dominance peaked last cycle, that was September 2019. It tanked a year and a half later. Now, 2017, it was a bit quicker. We took a look at Ethereum, Bitcoin as well, and how Ethereum, Bitcoin is the shadow of Bitcoin dominance, but this is still falling this cycle. We need confirmation that this is bottomed out. Now, RSIs, they do show that we have bullish divergence, higher lows here, lower prices. Okay, you guys see that. ETH, Bitcoin going lower, the strength going higher, bullish divergence, yay. We see that if this was a bottom, if we drew from low to high, oh, sorry, I need to do that with the fib. If we drew our fib low to high, I'm just giving you different scenarios like that, and we took our fib, put it on log, that it's at the 618, it's at a 618 retracement, okay, right there. 618, deleting it. Okay. Could it get a bounce there? Sure. Now, last cycle, there's a 300% move that took 600 days from bottom to alt season. Cycle before, look at this. It bottomed in late November, early December, and it topped within a month. Okay, the top was early January. Could we see that happen? Can we see a drawn out alt season somewhere in between? Remember, we don't have to go up 300% over 600 days. If this was the bottom, we could go up about not even half that amount in half the amount of time. Half the strength, half the time. That puts us, you see the data at the bottom, for your cycle territory. Okay? So I don't know when the top is. I've given you a variety of data points that fit different narratives, but I like to follow the trend and look for the prices. I have my price targets. I have my cryptos, my stocks, my Bitcoin mining stocks, and I have areas of good value where I buy. I have a strategy of when I buy. I have a budget that I strictly stick to, and I have price targets where I take profit. Some of those price targets might hit during alt season. Some of those price targets might not hit during alt season. Some of those price targets might not hit at all. But I am budgeting in a certain percent of my paycheck, and I'm banking off there being some sort of an alt season, and I'm putting my money where my mouth is. But this is crypto, and crypto is risk. We don't use this stuff in our everyday lives. Let's be honest. We are taking educated risks, educated gambles here, which nothing I say is financial advice. I'm just sharing my thoughts and my strategies with y'all. You guys can take or leave any of it, and that is okay. You can agree or disagree with anything. That is absolutely okay. But crypto is still a very risky space, so it's hard to say. Now, we do have increased confidence because the cyclical pattern, the 4-year cycle pattern, the data that shows the diminished returns, the logarithmic regression, there is a certain confidence instilled into the behavior of the price action of Bitcoin over time. But that confidence can always be broken. And so, put your money where your mouth is. But we are, I think, getting closer to the area of the top, these orange bands, 150K, give or take. Let me go over to Bitcoin. Okay, we're at the 1618 at around 102K. That's holding support. The 2618's at 155K. But we have other indicators as well. Log regression. This is like our rainbow chart we showed. Look where these last two tops were in that log regression band, right in the middle to the top there. So going back to those dates, 135 to 200K from middle, earliest, higher end of the log regression band, latest. Okay, 135 to 200K, rainbow chart, that kind of lines up. Where's 135 and 200K? It's inside those orange boxes. So once Bitcoin is in those orange boxes, red alert. I don't know where that top's going to exactly be, but we're looking for Bitcoin dominance to rotate down. We're looking for Ethereum Bitcoin to rotate up. And just keep in mind, alt season was only within a 4-6 week span here and only a 4-week span after the top here. After Bitcoin became too expensive to keep buying, there was a brief moment in time within weeks where a rotation of money left from Bitcoin to everything else. It happens quick and it's crazy. Last cycle was crazy. Cycle before was euphoric, absolutely bonkers nuts. It was monkey nuts. That's how crazy it was. I don't even have adjectives for it. All right. It was psycho. So just keep in mind, when that happens again, if that happens again, it is a complete euphoric time. People will be giving price targets that are absolutely stupid. XRP to 10K, all that stuff. And that's going to be the top. Should we get another alt season like that? Let's finish there. VG, you're asking the essential question. You're asking the $1 million question. And I am okay telling you, I don't have an answer, but those are some things I'm looking at. And you got to put your money where your mouth is. You got to take your own risks. I try to hedge my risk by using good technical analysis and by setting a strict budget. Do not overextend yourselves because this is very risky. We don't use this stuff in our everyday lives right now. Maybe one day we will, but not yet. Everyone, we had about, on average, 10 to a dozen people watching this whole time. Thank you all so much for watching and hanging out on a Friday afternoon. I hope you all have a fantastic weekend. Get outside a little bit. Get away from the charts for a day or two. Don't check your wallet for a day or two. And just enjoy life. Enjoy the sunshine. Do some yoga. Go to a different restaurant. Something. It's good to step away from the charts to help you maintain perspective and to have creative thoughts. Because otherwise we just get into the cycle of, the same thoughts, the self-fulfilling prophecies. It's hard to see the forest through the trees when we're doing the same thing, looking at the same stuff very frequently all the time. It's okay to step away for a few days. So thank you so much for watching. Couple of comments before I go. Did you have any targets back then? Great stuff. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank all of you. Andres, X-Sync, Magic Mather, Chips and Salsa before. All you guys, thank you so much for hanging out. Did I have targets back then? In 2017, this is embarrassing to say. No, I didn't. I did not in 2017. I was just starting my career and all that stuff, and I was pretty stupid. But I did pull money. 2021, I definitely had price targets. District, OX, DNT, that was one crypto in particular where, man, it was doing something. I'll show you this just really quick. This is, rabbit hole thinking. Sorry, let me go to this. But as DNT was going up, I remember looking at this last cycle and saying, I was getting some down here at around the under a cent area. And after it had that first pump, I noticed that, let's go to the daily here. There was a pattern to this. This is going to be stupid, but it played out. There is a pattern that emerged here. And I said, it took about from the first pump up to here, X amount of time. And then from the second pump, it took, 60 days. I said, it'll probably have another pump take 30 days and another pump 15 days. See how this is working? 30 days. And then from there, around 15 days, give or take. I mean, close enough, before that 60-day one. What was that, 120? Somewhere in there, yeah. Anyways, I saw this pattern in there. I was dollar cost averaging, and that pattern was continuing. And so I had a price target and I had a time, and it was crazy how it just worked out perfectly. But crypto does weird stuff like that sometimes. But that was one of them where my price target and timing hit perfectly. And then the other ones I did make money on, but I wasn't as close to the top for my other altcoins, but I did have ranges that I was able to hit. So trust me when I say that not having price targets, it can fall off quick. If any of you guys are new, price targets can fall off flipping quick. I had so much money made in Tron that I didn't take home. I still made money because thank God I bought it way down lower in 2017. But when it falls hard. It's better to sell on the way up than when it tanks, because it tanks faster than it goes up in crypto. Goes up, look at this, and then boom, instantly 50 cents to 10 cents. 80% drop. So have price targets and be strict about it. I'm telling you, we've had practice with this with a couple alts recently. We've had practice. XRP, Link. Okay. We're also in March. God, you guys got me talking again. I have a problem. December. stuff just rips up. We've had practice, okay? And if you're thinking about selling but you didn't, that feeling that came up, remember that feeling, because when it's all season, it's going to be that feeling times 10. And please be disciplined. If we get all season, that will save you. So, Justin, sorry I'm late. Could you please cover Algo? You know what, Justin, why not? I'll stick around an extra minute for you. Algo, rejected off the 0.5, came down to the 50-day moving average. As far as the weekly, probably has a buy signal in there. I'm actually almost positive it does. Yep, had a buy signal at that doji. But it is it's hanging around that 200-week moving average. If it came down to the 382, I'd like it a little bit more, but it does have a buy signal, and the stochastic is flipping up. Though it didn't get oversold, it's flipping up from a positive area. So, not the worst area, not the best, but decent. So that's where we're ending it. But I wanted to get a quick technical analysis in there for Justin so he didn't join at the end and go home empty-handed. I'm here for you guys, all right? Enjoy our conversations. So anyways, thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful weekend. Take care.